Take your position. The show is about to start.
Ladies and gentlemen,
welcome to On Screen, where we discuss all things cinema all the time. Here's your hosts.
the award goes to
Joe Brunett, Joe Cuffney, and Jesse Reichenstein. Lights, camera, action.
Okay, cool. Well, this week we are talking about Lady in White.
It's 1962. It's Halloween.
I wish I was as weird as you. Thanks.
There's nothing wrong with the town of Willow Point Falls that a powerful imagination can't cure.
The London Bridge crumpled under the monster's huge lizard feet. That's impossible. Or is it?
But this time, it's not make-believe.
No, don't hurt him. It was too dark. I couldn't see his face.
This time it's serious, deadly serious.
I'm telling you, that doesn't matter. This case has been making monkeys out of all of us for the past 10 years.
And strange, very strange. For you have seen a girl.
There was a little girl. I saw her. She was killed in the cloakroom.
A girl who wants you to find her killer.
Will you help me?
You have just one hope to solve the mystery.
Sometimes when someone dies violent, they can't rest in peace.
To stop the evil.
Where are you going? I gotta follow her.
To save your life.
Come here, child.
Open the door. Say your prayers. Lady in White.
Now, this one, I have never, ever heard of this in my entire life. I don't know about you guys. And I know Jesse picked this one. So, Jesse, what drove you to pick this? Where did this come from?
I had never heard of this one either. This was occasionally my mom will recommend a movie that is like, okay, I mean, she saw it when it came out in 1988. And it's like, I remember liking this. Which is very strange for my mom to like
I was gonna say, this is bizarre for your mom,
but it is, like the guys from Rochester.
The director, right?
Yeah, he wrote and directed, I believe.
And I think the boy was supposed to be like somewhat like him, basically, right? Because his name's Frank in the movie too.
Yeah, I think so. And it's based off like a Rochester ghost story or something. I forgot to really look into that. But I think too, it was right when my parents had moved to Honey Falls, and they at the time, like my mom was like, oh, it just reminded me of like a small town upstate, like that whole thing. And she said she always thought she'd have a kid like Lucas on.
That's such a random character.
How does that make you feel?
Right? Yeah. I don't know what way to take it, because it's also like, I don't know what we were. If we weren't that, we are weird, just in a different way, I think. But so that's what made me pick it. She's recommended some other movies from back in the day that we've since watched, and it's ended with, why did I like this? This one was included in that for her, but that's what led to it. And refrain from getting too much into it, but I liked the end more than the beginning. The second half better than the first half.
I agree. Some like backstory. I just did a real quick look up on the story. I mean, it's not the story, it's more of the location. But Durand Eastman Park, which is in Irondequoit, which is like right near Seabreeze, that's where apparently the she is seen. And apparently there's a castle there called the White Lady's Castle. So it's a thing. White Castle.
Should have gone on location.
We should do that. That would actually be really fun.
Jess and I could have done that.
You guys.
Oh, can I add to the other thing I forgot that made me think like this might be horrible or good is the description was like it's a box office flop turned cult classic. And I was like, that is great, whatever it is.
Because a lot of times the movie's actually great. Like those types of movies are actually great.
Yeah.
I feel like that's actually how you like those exact words is how you like sent it to us. You must have copy pasted it or something.
Yeah, I think I did. I was like, I'm picking the box office flop turned cult classic.
Yeah, when I went to like check what movie I was going to watch for this week, I was reading to it. I was like, this is like oddly specific for a description of the movie we're going to watch.
But quick question on that. Who determined the cult classic status?
The cult.
There's just a cult.
It's true. Like sometimes there can be a cult of like 3 people. How many people do you need to have a cult? It's a real question we're asking.
That's a great question. I don't know if there's a specific amount. I mean, probably at least 2, right? Just 2 people.
Let's start with the edge cases. Like, is it possible to have a 1 person cult?
Yeah. So should we do this week's in Cult Watch and just make sure we're not in cult?
Oh yeah, we haven't done that in a while. So.
Oops.
Turns out we are in a cult already. We just didn't know about it.
We are in this movie's cult.
Yeah, I think. Okay, so for me, like this, I didn't know what it was about at all. I didn't read about it. I didn't watch any trailers. I just from what you sent us, basically, box office flop turned cult classic. I was like, okay, don't really know what to expect there, but I mean, this gave me vibes of so many movies just because it was in the 80s. Like, it gave me like Jumanji vibes, Neverending Story, Little Monsters, Creep Show. There's a lot of like 80s kid storytelling vibes that I was getting, which is fun.
It's also
I like
supposed to take place in the 60s though,
which I like.
Actual film,
right? Yeah. But you could tell it was. I don't know. I got 80s.
Yeah,
vibe
like the
from
style
it.
of it for sure. Yeah,
yeah. I knew it was supposed to be in the 60s, which I mean, they did a good job of like some of like the writing and the costumes, but I think overall it felt 80s. But I still liked it. I mean, it was still fun, like to see. Ooh, I like the spooky lighting you got, Jesse. We should have done that. That was a great idea.
Nice.
But yeah,
there's some good special effects, by the way. I'll get into that later. I'll let Joe give some thoughts first. But
I was actually kind of going to talk about that because, like, one of the things that, like, whenever I go back and I watch a movie, like this is from I think '88, so like. Definitely less available in the special effects department than there is now. But like whenever I watch a movie like that like attempts to do something like Ghosts or, you know, something like that without any crazy special effects, like I almost like it's almost more intriguing. Like I think I felt this way when we watched Rear Window, but like if you can hold my attention and like, especially for something like suspenseful, or like potentially supposed to be scary. If you can do that when like 50 years later, when you're trying to, or I guess it's 30, it's not 50, but if you can still like hold my attention through all that, like it's a testament to like, just like it being well done at least. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Cause like when it was like in the closet or whatever, and he's sitting there watching the girl ghost. My initial thing was like, what is going on? You know?
Right. I definitely felt that throughout too. I was like, what is happening throughout? Like at least the first half, I was like, what is going on? Like, where is this going?
Well, that's what like but yes, but also the second half, why I loved it was also that, because the first half was like, what's going on? Because like nothing's happening. Like it's just it meanders for so long. And then the second half picks up where you go, what the hell is happening now? Like, what is going on? But I love like the him flying through the air and you can see like the green screen like between his hair.
Yeah.
Kind of deal. Or like flying when they're just like laying there, you know, and like going over the city. But I was the end when he falls off a cliff, we can get into that later or whenever, but I had to rewatch that and I was laughing out loud at that. Like he is falling down and it's the clip of like, it's this like crazy, they used insane ocean shots when it would be like someone was like dropped off a cliff and then it would just cut to some random ocean shot that like was just to be like, you get the point. He smashed into rocks. But like they just shrunk his video. So as he's falling, he gets smaller. But it like doesn't line up with the water. So like when he should hit the water, he just actually keeps getting smaller and smaller. And it's just like, it's by far my favorite scene in the movie. I watched it a couple times and I was just dying laughing. Because I also was at that point at the end where I was like, what the hell's going on? And you're like, what? And then that happens and you're like, okay, man, this is all over the place.
Oh yeah.
But I didn't think it was so bad to the point where like, I mean, there were some effects like that where it was like, what just happened and like why did they do it that way, but it didn't pull me out so often. Like I feel like when you see something you're just like what, and it kind of pulls you out of the story so that you need to like almost like get yourself back into it. I didn't feel that so much, but there was definitely a ton of those like what is going on moments.
I think it was because they were like consistent throughout with the effects. It was like if it was just once with him flying, I'd be like, "What?" But it was like kind of consistent, so that made it better.
Yeah, but I feel like it was just the end was the breaking point to me. It's like why I started laughing because like throughout it again, it was like the flying was like, "Oh, it's funny," but this is just how it was done then. And like if you watched it in '88, you would have been like, "Oh, cool, he's flying," like. But then at the end, I think it was just like. The straw only at the end though because I agree that like throughout it it was comical but it wasn't like pulling you out.
It's kind of like that's
you're like
I do but they could have just gotten away with like the scene where the boys go into the house when she appears kind of down the stairs. I feel like that was practical. Like I feel like they could have just gotten away with doing that the whole movie and it would have been a little scarier. I mean, I don't know if I think they were going for scary. I couldn't tell.
I thought I mean, I think the genre that I read when I pulled this up was like horror, horror thriller, but like I kind of got a little bit of like the like almost like a crime.
Yeah,
because it was kind of about a serial killer,
right?
And
that's true. That's
so true. Like I don't know. I got more like not like crime investigation, but like a little bit of like, kind of like the hocus pocus, like kids are trying to figure something out when parents aren't necessarily believing them till the end kind of thing. But yeah, there's a lot in that movie. One of my favorite scenes where I kind of lost it a little bit because like they had like all of those undertones of like they were trying to, blame the black guy and like all the stuff that I'm like, okay, like what is going on? Like I don't even know who it is. And then when they were doing the archery practice, and like I feel like out of nowhere, this guy is just like he's like being nice, and then the kid's just like, oh, it's you. Like I don't even really know how he arrives at that.
Well, he found it from the yearbook. Well, the song, the yearbook, and the ring, they all had a connection because the ring, the class ring.
But he didn't know. His brother found out about the yearbook with the ring.
Oh, right. You're right.
He when he got in the back of the car, Paul was walking, or Phil was walking up, and he was singing that song. Well, I did it. And that was the song that the girl was singing in the closet at the beginning. And so he realized that he was the man who walked in with her.
So I did not have that context. And I feel like the guy just went from like being nice to like this really like ominous music playing and just being like, I'm gonna kill you.
I was confused though. Like, what was I might have missed this. What was the relation between that guy, Phil, and then the kids? Were they just family friends? Because he was in the guy's room. He was in the kid's room, and he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go take Frankie to shoot."
Oh, yeah. They were like, I understood that they were like their uncles, but maybe not by blood. But like
friend
how
uncles.
People have like, they're like, that's Uncle Phil, but like it's not actually his dad's brother.
That makes sense. Okay.
That's what I thought it was.
Gotcha.
But
I feel like like going back with like the tone and everything, it was interesting because, you know, it kind of played like a kind of like a kid fantasy movie, but there's like a serious element to it. Like I was really confused. I was like, wait, is this supposed to be like a little kid movie? I mean, it's PG-13, but it's got the serial killer who kills children, which is pretty intense. And then a
Strangles them,
ghost
so.
who's not the bad person, the bad guy. So I don't know. Strangles the kids and throws them off cliffs.
Yeah.
Pretty intense. Something that I did enjoy, well, going kind of relating to what you said, Joe, about no one believing him, like when Frankie was in, I think it was the police station when he was trying to tell his dad, when he kind of figured out from the yearbook or whatever, he just had an idea of what was going on, and he was like telling the older guy, and the older guy's like, well, what are you blabbing about? And then the dad just was like, go eat food with your,
He was telling
grandma.
Phil, who was
that was Phil, right? Exactly.
They were in that welding shop thing, like on the stairs. And he was like putting together that he was getting the ring. And he was like, he must have dropped it because they were putting in the new furnace and they were going to find the ring.
Well, before we knew it was Phil, Phil was like believing him. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool, because I feel like literally every single movie and show, not everyone, but all of them, these kids are like freaking out from an experience. And the parents are like, no, you're just tired. You just need to go to sleep. You're seeing things. You're sleepwalking. Would a kid really do that in these like extreme measures? Like if someone's trying to kill you, would you be like, someone trying to kill me? No, you're just imagining things. Don't worry about it.
True. He literally was like attempted, murder.
Yeah.
Although, yeah, his dad is, when he was like, Dad, I got to tell you something. His dad was like, go help your grandma set the table. Come on.
Yeah.
Go.
Right. And then, yeah, like I've been watching all the Goosebumps, like I mentioned earlier, and it was like, these kids are like, oh, I saw this thing in my room. No, you didn't. You're fine. You're okay. Just go back to sleep. Like what? I feel like in our town, if someone said, I feel like it's so out of the ordinary where it would kind of stir something up, at least. I don't know about your parents.
I mean, especially if, again, you were almost murdered before that. It wasn't like out of the blue. It was like, I'm scared of the dark. It's like, hey, remember how someone tried to murder me last week?
And the thing is, they already have this history of these children getting murdered. So like they already have that going on for them. This isn't new.
It's true. Yeah.
So
yeah, I don't know, man.
This talent, it's kind of reminded me of Stephen King a little bit. It gave me like Stephen King, like almost Hitchcock vibes, kind of like a combination, but like a children's version.
The town itself made me it gave, I agree, it gave me like Derry, Maine vibes.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, especially with the kids like going around on bikes and things like that.
Oh yeah,
I do with bikes. I believe it was a great opening scene when they get on the bikes to go to school, and they are trucking it through like those trails and stuff, like, and then they hit that jump and they go flying over, like it shows them flying over that little gap, like no problem. And then of course it goes into the wet cement.
Yeah.
And then his brother Gino, I love also how Italian everyone was. His brother Gino, like to get him, ran through the wet cement rather than like around it, and like lost his shoe. And like right before like the nun with the children like were hitting them with books, and that old lady like sprayed him with a hose. I was like, what is going on in your bike ride to school? And then he went in to buy toilet paper to clean up the wet cement. That seems like the toilet paper.
To be fair, like these kids, I don't know how old these kids are, but I don't know. When you're kids, you'll do anything to clean something up. I don't know. I probably would.
Well, that's what I mean. But I thought
paper.
If it's toilet paper, he would have showed up at school in the next scene with like the little white things from it all over with the wet. His books have wet cement on them.
That's a good point. I wonder if that was like a thing. Like, I don't know. I mean, this was based in the 60s, right? So
yeah, like 62 or something.
I feel like
because it was supposed to be like him looking back.
Oh, right. Well, I feel like a lot of these time period movies based in like the 50s or 60s, I feel like they're just like, I feel like kids were just trying to figure out what to do. And I feel like you had bikes when you had like soda shops, like soda pop shops. Then you had like candy. And like, I feel like I was kind of soda parlors. And I feel like candy and all that stuff was kind of getting popular during that time, like milkshakes and all that stuff. And I don't know. It was just, it's fun. I wonder if like, getting sprayed with the hose or the cement, I wonder if that like stuff actually happened. Like I'm sure it's, I mean, I don't know. It was a different time.
I can't imagine just like being the person with a hose in my hand, seeing a kid come by on a bike and just spraying the kid. I don't think I could do that.
No, there were, I don't know, different mentality though back then. Like adults were adults, kids were kids.
Yeah.
Spraying with hose sometimes.
Yeah, you know.
I do also like when, well, one, man, kid bullies are just always the same in every movie. Who they cast for them is just like always the same.
Yes.
But I love when the kid punched him and just the effect. And I feel like his hand like almost opened at the end of the punch. And it was like this side shot and then the sound effect. And then he was just like on the ground lying there, you know, and then he's like, hey, buddy. He's like, where'd he go? Like,
the shot was so weird because it literally showed him getting punched and then it cut to him like his feet like the feet was in the camera and you couldn't see anything else. But I was like, how did he get there? And then they came around his left side. I was like, how did you get there from here? How did he fall? It just didn't make any sense.
Not at all. I love that.
No
that
choreographer.
kid punched someone though. Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty good. He was a cool kid. I liked his character.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you should be him for Halloween just because no one would know who that is.
They're really strange. Yeah. You guys don't know Lady in White, the 1988 box office flop turned cult classic? I do like when it made me really like the kid when he's carrying all the books and he's like out of breath with the teacher, you know, and he's just trying to talk on and he's like so out of breath because he probably can't carry. It's probably weighs more than him, these books. And she's basically like, you know, you're a really unusual kid for your age. And he's so happily is like, I know. And I was like, okay, I like this kid.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, the kid was great. I feel like most of the actors are not actors, I should say. Characters were pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
The kids were pretty good, actually. I feel like as actors. The adults, The dad was probably the better one. One of the better ones.
The Donald, the bully, was in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and I think Big. Was that the Tom?
Yep, he was in Big. Yep, that was about it.
Yeah, I was like,
he's got this specific kid enough. Face. Yeah, yeah. And then oh shoot, I should have saved this. The guy who played Frankie, he has been in a lot of stuff too.
Lucas Hahn.
If you look at like the cast, like they're pretty like they've been in a lot of shows, like a lot of TV shows. I feel like not like movies, big movies or anything, but they've been in a lot of stuff for the most part.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I will say something they did get really right was the upstate New York vibe, because it was shot. Well, we'll get to this in a bit, but it was shot in upstate New York. But the only thing I will say is that we did not have a hot dog truck in our town, which is what HFO is missing, because that would have been amazing.
There needs a hot dog truck.
You hear it here, guys. If anyone wants to open a hot dog truck, it's the small town to go to.
I'm saying, I mean, they had everything else. They had the small town, they had the rolling hills, they had a lot of stars in the sky.
I was gonna say Pittsford famously has the hot dog.
So maybe this was a Pittsford
right in the village.
I didn't know that.
They still to this day they still set up right. Like
I
near the
love
library.
carts. Big fan.
Yeah, hot dog cart, man.
Joe got bored.
Just like
Joe left.
But
the
it
podcast.
just every podcast he just leaves at some point. He just
Irish goodbyes.
Friends, like I think they have 3 hosts, but sometimes by the end there's only 2.
Okay, so this is something that stuck out to me, and I think Jesse, this should be another one of your movies. I feel like the music changed every like 3 minutes. I think, Jesse, you should have a new track every time one ends. Just put another one in there throughout the whole movie.
It's like a power hour.
Power 2 hours. Yeah, it was pretty good. It was just very 80s. Everything was 80s about it, and I don't know. That was my take on it.
Yeah, been some real weird. I mean, again, I don't even know where I'm going with this, just because so many points is like, what is going on? But like towards the end, especially when like he was gonna get murdered by Phil, but then the lady saved him, but then he was like stuck in her house with like a billion candles going, and he's like in a bed in his coat, still like sweating a ton.
Yeah, I was so confused.
And then Phil comes back in. And yeah, at that point I was like, who is dead? Who's alive? What's going on? So many times when they were like,
at that point,
that's
what?
true. I
just thought he was dead. I thought that was like him like hallucinating or something.
I don't know.
Yeah,
The
I
whole
thought, like,
movie might have
all
been
of this-
hallucination.
I thought at the beginning when they like found him, I thought it was all like an hallucination thing. And then I was like, oh no, someone did try to kill him.
Inception.
But at the end, when he's like, Phil's trying to throw him off the edge and he won't let go, and then he lets go, and then he's hanging, and then he climbs back up. But it's just like such a funny, like they never really show them fully getting back up, but then he'll just like suddenly be on the top again, and then Phil somehow
Right.
falls off, and then he's holding on. And then the classic, he grabs him and he's like, grab my hand. And then he realizes he's gonna let go, and he's like, Philly, no. It's like that he calls him Philly at the end.
No. I really want you to, Jesse, if you make a movie, I want you to put in a movie where a guy's hanging on a cliff and someone else reaches for him, and the other guy reaches for it, and he does the thing where you like put your hand through your hair like that, where you fake him out. You're like,
sorry, Philly, too slow.
Sorry, Phil, too slow.
That's how it ends.
I do think this would have been benefited way more without the ghost story. I hate to say that because I love ghost stories. If this was
Just
just
like
a
what the whole movie's based on.
I know, but if it was a serial, then why put the serial killer in there?
Yeah.
What was the point of that? I think the serial killer was the more interesting part of the movie. And again, the second part of the movie, second half, was more exciting to me. But it's almost like a murder mystery at that point. So I kind of wish
That's
they
true.
went that direction. Like,
It was a good twist.
yeah, I liked it. It was definitely,
There's
I
enough
didn't see it
surprises
coming.
where you like, yeah, I didn't see it fully coming, but then you can kind of be like, oh, like it wasn't so out of the blue. Like it was one of those where you like didn't really see it coming, but you were like, oh, I could have seen it coming,
Right.
kind of deal.
Yeah, like after
It
it
was a
happened, I was
good-
like, oh, makes sense.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
good amount of mystery in there.
100%. I did like the Halloween vibe though, like with the costumes and everything. That was pretty cool.
This like school party where they were all carving pumpkins and stuff.
Yeah, that sounds
That was-
awesome.
That was a good vibe. Yeah.
Really
They had
good
some good
vibe.
music playing. And like her kids just sprinting around. Yeah, I was like, this is fun.
Yeah, I want that.
And then they were like, Frankie wrote a new story for everyone. And they can, told his monster story. And everyone's like, ooh.
Also, that little girl who was like kind of friends with him or who liked him, she just never came back.
Oh, yeah, that's true. There's a lot of things in this movie that were just side parts for like one single reason. And then they just disappeared.
Yep.
Like they were just gone. And you were like, wait, that's done. That's not going to be brought back to you. And they're like, no.
There were like a few that could get brought back though, but like not in a way that made sense. But like the first like I don't know, like running through the woods, like smoky, like a white lady going through that like weird misty area. The first time that happened, I was like, what is going? Why? But they kind of like ran through that forest later on, and so I was like, okay, like maybe they were trying to like foreshadow that a little bit, but like maybe not well. But like
I feel like
there was a few like attempts made that I was like, okay, I see the attempt, but like maybe lacking on execution. But
I did love the forest because it gave me like 1940s Wolfman vibes from Universal Monsters. That was pretty cool with the fog. I really want to go in a forest that's like that. I've never ever been in a forest where it's just like you can't see the ground. It's only covered in fog. Like I feel like that's depicted in movies.
Fog machines.
Oh man, that would be awesome.
when the serial killer guy, like when he like slowly when it got like darker and slowly like you just saw like his silhouette, it kind of like I feel like up until that point I forgot what like the guy who strangled the kid in the closet like looked like. I thought, to be honest, I thought he had like some sort of like scuba diving hat on or something, like because just couldn't see his
Scuba
face.
diver.
Yeah, I was so confused at that point, but
Well, I think it worked because he was supposed to be
That's
covering
so
himself. Like he didn't want to show his identity, so it worked.
yeah. And like there was a little bit too in like how Frankie's the kid's name, right?
Yes.
How Frankie described it, because like there's like it's timepiece, so like if it's in the 60s, like they're going through all the like segregation and all that, and they like totally just like tried to scapegoat, and like, but it was based off Frankie being like, it was dark, I couldn't see the, you know, the person, and so I think everyone in the town took that to mean like a dark skin, and then I started like thinking about it, because like it was like all this, like it's called like the White Lady, and so like I was like, why are there so
I never
many,
thought
like,
about that.
racial undertones to this?
Interesting. I never even thought about that.
And that whole story
Like, I
was
don't really
just
know
there.
if that was
I think we're overthinking it. I think it's literally just a ghost and then a janitor.
Yeah, I think that whole storyline was there.
I thought about that many ways though, because originally when I thought about the White Lady, like I didn't think, I thought it was gonna be like a lady in like a wedding dress, you know. And then I thought ghost, and then when like they had that whole like side story there, I was kind of like, oh, like is that actually is that intentional? And like, you're right, probably not, but like it did make me think about it.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
I think that storyline was only there to show that like the dad was the good guy. You know, like the dad was the not racist guy, because they didn't even like address that storyline. And then they shoot that guy, and like it's not even brought up, but it's like only there to show that the dad went to their side both times. So like the dad's a good guy.
That's the part I think that like was weird for me, is like, what was the point of that story? And that's why I started like thinking about it in like the broader context. Is I was like, is that like somehow important? You might be right. It might be just like, yeah, like literally show that the dad is like a actually good human being. But yeah, I was a little confused by the point of a lot of that.
Oh yeah, I mean, this whole serial killer thing is a whole nother story in itself.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I don't know. That I was like, man, trials were so rough back then. Like they literally had no way of like DNA anything. It's like, oh, you said this, okay, you must be right. We're gonna arrest this person for whatever. Like that's terrifying. If there was a sketch of you, you would have been in jail.
It reminds me a lot of, yeah. It reminds me a lot. I don't know if you guys have ever watched the Monty Python stuff, but like there's one of like where they're like being like, oh, she's a witch, and they're like, well, why is she a witch? And like, because she is. I don't know. Like you know, it's a lot of like that kind of thing, where you know, they don't really care. They're just looking for a scapegoat to their problems, really.
Oh yeah, totally. 100%. Yeah. It's so interesting.
Which like, I mean, if you look back at it's Halloween time, but like, if you look at like, you know, all these weird things humans have done throughout history, like why did we burn people at the stake? Like, like so many weird things humans do to like solve a problem.
I think it's because it's ever growing. Like it's ever growing. Like we're never going to ever have an answer for anything. I feel like we're always just going to be second guessing ourselves. And like, well, the thing is, we're always learning about things. Like, you know, we don't know much about the ocean. We don't know much about the space at all, but like we can guess and we'll figure stuff out over time. But like, no one really knows. Like there's some things that no one really knows, like paranormal activity things. Like there are things, like obviously there's believers, not believers. There's evidence, there's not evidence, whatever you want to go towards. But like, there's never like concrete proof of like life after death. And it's like, there's only estimates from there. I don't know.
I actually have all the concrete proof. I'll share with you guys after we stop recording. But I have all the proof.
Okay, not concrete proof, I guess, because there is certain I don't know.
Oh no, I have concrete proof. I'm saying yes. I have it. World breaking news. I've told no one yet, but I will tell you guys after the podcast.
Okay, I don't want to say concrete because I've had a couple paranormal experiences myself with things that I've seen.
Have you shared these paranormal stories?
I've shared them, but not on the podcast. Should I do a little spooky session?
Yeah, that sounds great. That's
okay. I'll do two of them. So I'm going to start a new segment called Spooky Sessions. Where we talk about paranormal, or not just paranormal, any kind of experience that is spooky related. And you guys are welcome to just talk about any other spooky scenarios you've been in. But for me, I'm going to talk about 2 ghost experiences I've had. So I was in college, and one of my friends, she's like always kind of, I don't know, she's never like had evidence that she had a ghost or anything. But one day, one of her professors was like, hey, like, I need to talk to you for a second after class, blah, blah, blah. And he was basically like, I see them behind you. And she was like, you see what? And he basically told her that she had a couple ghosts with her, essentially. He was a medium, apparently. And so she was like, okay. So a couple weeks go by. She sees this. Now she only sees one person kind of throughout. This dude with the top hat. Apparently he's a good ghost. So no negative vibes there, which is nice. But one night,
Chill vibes. 2 vibes.
No vibes, 2 vibes. One night, me and 3 of my friends, including her, we decided to stupidly, well, this isn't stupid because something bad happened, but we tried to perform a little seance to it. And we got a candle, we turned the lights off, and the guy basically gave us instruction on what to do because he was a medium, he kind of knows what to do. And, you know, we had my phone playing music, and we were saying this stuff, doing all these things. And eventually, so I was like recording on my phone. My friend had her phone playing music because you're supposed to play music, and like you can ask it to change the music and all this stuff. And, you know, I was recording my phone, and as we were going, the candle like started kind of like flickering a little bit, and we're like, okay, you know, it could just be like a, you know, air or whatever. And then it just kept doing that for a couple minutes, stopped, and then it would do that every, you know, occasionally. And then we would ask it to like, it like changed the song a couple times, which was pretty crazy. Like we were like, hey, like, you know, I don't remember exactly what we asked it, but basically we said, if you know, show us that you're here, you know, switch the song or whatever. And it would skip a couple songs. Like it was strange. And then after a couple minutes, we kept asking it things, and my phone just turned white for like a half a second. And then I like stopped recording, and we rewatched it, and it, you know, you could see it. It just like kind of came across the screen. And then and then the next day I went to go show one of my friends, and the video was gone. And I have no evidence of that video anymore. So that was pretty crazy.
Whoa.
And then later on,
that's crazy. Because usually people's stories that were like, I felt something one night, and you're
right.
like, what? That was it?
Oh no, this was legit.
I'm thoroughly impressed. I'm ready for story 2.
This one's a little scarier, but not like too bad. So I was that same friend, she was in her room sleeping, and my other friend and I, we were in their kitchen. It was just us 3 in the house, and my friend who was sleeping, she's got a very, very, very distinct laugh. Like you could tell her, it's Lauren. You could tell her laugh from a mile away. And so I was talking to my other friend in the kitchen, and we were chatting, and we hear her laugh a couple times, like, you know, periodically, maybe every few minutes or so. We're like, oh, what's she laughing about? She's, you know, let's go check it out. We go into her room, and she's like passed out. So we like wake her up, and we're like, hey, like, what were you laughing about? Like, what's so funny? And she was like, oh, I've been sleeping this whole time. Like, I don't know. And so the next day she asked her medium guy, basically, like,
who's also a professor there?
Yeah, he's a professor.
Okay.
So this was after the seance. So this we probably might have done this, but she basically asked him, she's like, hey, what is, like, you know, my friends heard this. I've been seeing this guy in a top hat. You know, what's going on? He's like, oh, they heard your laugh, but you didn't do it. And she was like, yeah. And he was like, that's not a good sign if a ghost mimics your laugh, apparently. So we were like, uh-oh. So we were freaking out a little bit. Nothing ever happened after that, but she definitely saw him a few more times after that, I think. And then it was just gone. So that was my 2 experiences.
Very weird.
But fun. Good times.
Super weird.
Have you ever had anything like that, Jess?
Man, I'm trying to really think if I have had any, like, not, you know, I will think about it this next week, but nothing on that level. There's
no seances.
I feel like I've gone on some like haunted hayrides or like a haunted tour, and there's, you know, it's like, oh, I was pushed.
To be fair, we were in one of the most, if not the most haunted city in America, in Savannah. So,
well, attention to all ghosts out there. I'll be looking for you this next week. I have
Jesse's
a
out with like
story.
Ghostbusters. He's like,
Yeah.
Joe, have you anything like that happened to you before or no?
Nothing like that. The only, I mean, this isn't even like ghost stuff, but like I've had like situations where like I just feel like they just feel really familiar, but they're new, like almost like a premonition. But
Yeah.
it's more of like a weird feeling than like a ghost or spirit thing.
That's paranormal
Yeah.
still, though. I mean, I feel like paranormal is such a vague term. Like anything can really be paranormal.
Yeah.
So that could.
Yeah, I find, and I think this is also maybe just like, I know sometimes you can associate like songs or smells with memories. Like your brain kind of files it away that way. But like I find like if like one example of this that is just on my mind right now is like if I smell something that smells like super similar to like how my like grandma's house smelled, or like something like that, I'll like be like, why does this feel so familiar? And it's probably because of the smell, but like, you can kind of like, I don't know, you get those like weird, like, why does this moment feel like I've been here before?
Right. Almost like deja vu.
Yeah. Some deja vu.
Deja vu is so weird. It's so strange.
Yeah. And like, you can never like point to it. It's probably just like things you're sensing, but like,
right.
It still feels weird in the moment.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm real in that middle ground of like, I think I believe in some paranormal stuff, or just like something on a level that we don't understand, but also it's like there's a little overlap with also being like, but a lot of things I don't understand are just because I don't understand the intricacies of my brain connect, like doing it, but there's like an overlap of that of like,
I mean, I feel like the brain is such an interesting thing. Like you can make yourself believe anything. Like you have the placebo effect and you have just everything that it's like, there's a lot of explanations for things for sure. Like I watch a lot of ghost hunter shows and it's like, okay, like, and it's really actually fascinating. They kind of like show what's what. And like, you think you hear something or see something, but you probably didn't, but you don't know. You never know. That's like going back to like the little kid, like saying that he's like, oh, this guy tried to kill me, blah, blah, blah. And the parents like, no. I'm like, why not believe someone who's like, oh, I saw that? Like, what's the harm in being like, oh, that's cool? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. And I always think about this in like kind of like what you were saying, Jess, how like you just don't understand much about the brain, but like, I mean, same, obviously, but like, I always think about human brains in like I learned about, I did computer science in school. So like whenever I was learning about like neural networks and things like that are modeled after the brain, like that tends to be how I think about human brains, just because I mean that's my only basis for understanding that. But I always think about it just as like pattern recognition. So like your brain is really good at recognizing a pattern, like, hey, this is the road, and then you just can respond to that. But like I always whenever I have one of those like deja vu moments, I'm like, what is my brain like perceiving that it thinks it's perceived before? You know what I mean? Like whether it did or not, but I think that's like what would give you that feeling. But like, I don't know, the brain is fascinating.
Yeah. And I mean a lot of too, like, let alone what I don't know about the brain. I also mean like what us as humans don't know about the brain, and like all the stuff. We're like
shockingly little about the brain.
Yeah, like a lot in medical world, even. I mean, not like a lot in medical, but like there's a lot of things just in general where we're like, we don't fully know why yet. Like we know this, but we don't fully know why.
There's so many unanswered questions. It's crazy.
Or like, it's like when we discovered the like UV light spectrum kind of deal. It's like we realized that such, this little percentage of it is like actual visible to our eye, and everything else is just like we can't see it.
That's the thing,
and we've had
dude.
tools that will detect different things, but it's just that idea of like the more you know, the more you also realize you don't know, like how vast knowledge.
But also like with those technologies, saying you're picking up things that we can't see, like those things are probably aren't picking up things that those can't see. So there's probably endless things that we can't see that we're trying to figure out. So it's
I'm really refraining from launching our spin-off podcast talking about aliens.
No, aliens.
I know, man. Aliens.
Can we just real quick answer the question, yes or no, do aliens exist in your opinion?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think we're all on the same page there.
Perfect.
Moving on.
All right. Now we are switching the topic. We are switching our podcast called On Aliens.
Aliens. Well, here's the thing, man. We can edit this out, and I don't even want to get into this, but people were talking about the idea of like, like, is it Fermi's or something, where it's like the idea of like, based on all these things, there should be this many like other forms of intelligent life, and where are they, kind of deal. Like, why haven't we connect with them? And one of the like ideas is like that if you get to some point of intelligence as a species, you end up destroying yourself, kind of deal. But there's like all these different theories and stuff. But it's like, oh yeah, what if we do believe there's aliens? Have they been like? Why don't we know? Why wouldn't they contact us? Are they here and we can't see them? Or, getting into real,
Dude, there's
real like your spooky stories again. Real high on mushrooms.
Well, we got to do more alien movies then, or we got to do more topical things like that. And we can talk about this more.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, yeah, let's do that one time.
Should we get back to the movie?
Yeah,
What movie?
I have several notes that I want to fit in before the end of the movie too, real quick. One, they do say the title of this movie a few times.
Yes, they do.
It does have that
down.
going for it.
Yep.
I did love the ongoing bit with the grandpa and like the cigarette running into the door, dropping in his pants, falling into the bathtub. Seemed strange, but a great little bit. Again, don't know why. They were like, let's just slip some slapstick humor in there.
This movie's got every genre possible.
Here's one that'll blow your mind. At some point when there's like a dresser with a mirror, I'd forgetting at what point this is. There's like I think it's like a porcelain white rabbit. So I think this is in the Donnie Darko universe. I'm pretty sure it's in the Donnie Darko universe. Is all I'm saying.
Whoa!
You guys, you put the dots together
because the kid's name is Frank.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa! This
I'm
is
just saying.
And the Donald, the bully Donald.
Yes.
They never reveal his last name. So
that's true. Donald, Frank. There's a bunny.
A ghost.
I'm sure there's a billion other connections.
Yeah.
But it's there. Someone write that up.
All right.
Yeah, I just saw the rabbit and I was like, oh my God. Donnie Darko. I also love that I feel like he lost something before, but like he lost his hat at the beginning and then he loses the ring when his like brother actually has it. But they're like in the woods and he's like, I lost the ring. And I'm like, man, how do you keep losing things, man?
Butterfingers.
Oh, and a little fun upstate New York little thing they threw in was he said, I believe it was Gino who said something about Tubin County.
Oh.
And really it took place in Steuben County. So a slight
Steuben.
But if we want to go into locations,
I was going to say this was shot in
County.
Lyons, New York.
Mm-hmm.
So
and I think a lot of it, I don't know if it was filmed in or based on, but like there's a park not far from there called Duran Eastman Park, and I think that's
in Irondequoit.
I don't know if it was shot there, but that's where the white lady is in reality. And there's a castle there and white. Lady in white, sorry.
The white lady.
The white lady. Same thing.
I think I said that too.
I know, yeah. At one point you started saying white lady. You did the white lady. Do it.
Do you guys want to get into ratings or anybody else want to say about it?
Hey, let's do ratings.
This is a tough one to rate, I will say.
It is actually, because it's like, again, it's like not that great, but it's not bad.
But I don't give it a floor and a ceiling, like
I'm gonna go like 7.5.
All right, nice.
7.5. Cigarette butts.
Nice.
Because it it was like I wasn't mad that I watched it at the end, but through the first half, I was like, what is like, I will say it's a little too long. Like it is drawn out. And you're like,
Yeah, it's almost 2
what is
hours.
going on? Yeah. But then the end, it just ended so great, probably because it was drawn out. And I was just like giving up any idea of trying to like put things together. And then it just ended with like the most insane shit ever and like didn't tie up certain things. And then like, again, that perfect falling scene at the end made me at least end it with being like, it wasn't bad. I was laughing at the end. Not that I was supposed to, but like
that makes me think of It's Always Sunny, the Dayman episode where the crowd is laughing and Artemis is like, they're laughing. That's a good sign. And Charlie's like, what did he say? He says, he's like, they shouldn't be laughing. This is not a comedy or something like that. But you know what? If it's funny, if you can get enjoyment out of it, not so bad.
And I will say Dayman is one of my favorite musicals there is. So
I agree. Couldn't agree more. So 7.5.
7.5.
Nice. Would you like to go, Joe?
Yeah. So for me, like, I mean, I think this has a lower ceiling for sure.
Come on.
Dude, this was
Fuzz.
a perfect movie, buddy. What are you talking about?
I'm like, I'm between like a solid 7 or like high 6s, but I think I'm gonna go with the 7 just because like it was fun. Like I definitely laughed at sometimes. There was a lot of times I was like, what is going on? But I'm going with 7 dramatic falls.
Nice. You know, I almost picked that as my units too, but I didn't. So that's funny that you picked it.
Beat you to it.
Nice. 7. Cool. All right. Well, how do I start this?
Perfect 10.
I kind of wish I saw this like as a kid because I feel like there'd be a good nostalgia factor. Like I feel like Jesse, you're saying your mom likes this movie and she saw it, but I feel like that's why like I love like Never Ending Story and like all those types of movies. Like even though they might not be great, but Never Ending Story is actually a pretty good movie. But there's some movies like Little Monsters, for example, not a fantastic movie, but like it's great because I grew up with it. And like there's a lot of movies like that I just love because I grew up with them.
Terrifying. That movie scarred me, but anyways.
Which one?
Little Monsters.
Oh yeah, I know. But it's I don't know. I think I'm missing that for me. Like it was fun and I get it. It was a kid's movie, some cool elements. I don't know. It just wasn't there for me, but there were parts I liked about it. Like I loved the second half. Like I was saying, I love the serial killer aspect. There was way too many plot points that were unanswered and unexplained, I feel like. But you know what? I guess I can give that a pass because I liked the serial killer aspect part of it, even though it didn't really make sense for the story. I do love the Rochester affiliation here, and it's shot in upstate New York because I feel like there's not a lot shot in upstate New York. And by upstate New York, I mean near where we live, upstate New York. Yes, Western New York. That's a good way to put it. But yeah, I think that was kind of cool. Love the Italian side. I feel like you don't really get that in like I don't know, this type of movie. I feel like you don't really get the legit Italians, which is what I think that's kind of fun. Like Angelo and Frankie and all this other stuff.
The names were awesome.
The names were fantastic. And I do think they should have gone practical rather than special effects, but I get it because in the 80s it was like new and they were just trying some stuff and probably looked great for the time. It's groundbreaking. And part of me thinks it's kind of fun, even though it's bad, it's kind of fun. But yeah, I think that was it. Oh, and the dad looked like Mel Gibson, so that was kind of fun too.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, but overall, I mean, it was fun. It was enjoyable. I don't know if I see myself revisiting this. Maybe in like few years when I'm just like looking for a random spooky movie to throw on, I'll be like, oh, I'll just throw this on the background. But it's not the top of my list.
In Rochester.
I definitely want to hit the locations. I feel like we got to do that just because.
Hit the locations. I feel like maybe your dad might like this.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think my parents would like this. Is a good like family. Okay, it's a good family movie. I feel like it's PG-13. There's some horror. There's some thrill. There's some drama. There's There's some sci-fi, there's some fantasy, there's some comedy. You got everything. Yeah, everything. Mixed bag.
Weird. Yeah.
I'll give him props, but I think I'm gonna go five near-death experiences, because that scene was one of my favorite ones, because I was like, this is dark. A near-death experience, and he's seeing all these visions. Like, I was like, God,
Yeah.
what is happening? So I appreciate how dark they went and they tried for this type of movie. So,
And as we all know, it set up Donnie Darko. So you wouldn't have Donnie Darko without this. So
boom.
There you go.
think about it.
Yep.
Do you have any movie news?
Ooh, got a bunch. So I saw Halloween Kills last
Ooh.
night. We will be reviewing it. I won't say anything because we're reviewing it next
Okay.
week. And we finished Squid Games. I don't know if you guys have seen that. Finished that one.
I have
I
2 episodes
started.
left.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm curious to hear what you guys think about it. Just because I liked it. It was fun. I think, I don't know, like a lot of shows, I think it was overhyped to me. And I actually think
It's
it would
the
have.
number 1 Netflix release in Netflix's history.
That's crazy,
Crazy.
actually.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, like, the hype is there because it is doing insane numbers. Not like ratings,
know.
but like numbers it's doing.
I don't know. I don't believe numbers though, because like you have like Avengers, which I love the Avengers, don't get me wrong, but it's one of the highest grossing movies of all time. That's just the numbers. Like, doesn't mean it's a fantastic movie.
No,
Doesn't mean
that's
it's
what
a
I'm
bad
saying,
movie,
though.
though.
It's
Oh,
not,
yeah.
I'm not saying it was the highest rated Netflix. It's just like, I think the biggest
yeah.
release. So I'm saying,
Okay.
like, the hype is there because, like, everyone is watching it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, that's something. Okay, that's something I'm trying to explain to people, because they're like, "Oh, how is it?" I'm like, "It's really good. Like, I really enjoy it. Like, if you like Parasite, if you like that type of Korean filmmaking, I think you'll enjoy it, because I really like Korean filmmaking myself. But like, I don't like to overhype things. Like, I try not to, at least. Like, I'll be like, it's good. Like, I really want to hear what you think about it, because people keep going, "Oh, it's the best show I've seen in years. Like, it's groundbreaking." I'm like, it's not groundbreaking. I've seen things like this before. Like, it's not out of the blue. Like, you have Most Dangerous Game, you have Battle Royale, you have Hunger Games. Like, all this stuff is kind of around, and it's a cool story. It's actually really interesting, but I do think it would have worked better as a movie. I think, I don't know.
Oh,
I just think like I got
interesting.
disconnected, because like each episode I was like, we didn't watch them sequentially, and you had all these emotions with these certain characters, and like every episode we stopped watching, I got lost, and I was like, oh wait, what happened with this character? Like, I don't know. It just came off as a movie to me more, which was actually funny, because the creator, I read this in a Cinema Blend article, which is a movie website. He said he originally wrote the series as a film prior to Netflix ordering an expansion into a series. Another
Yeah.
Netflix problem.
Do you know, though, there was a
Making
little
everything in the
guff,
series.
I think, with some people saying that he kind of stole this from a Japanese film.
Was it Battle Royale?
I don't know, and I can't remember if it's a Japanese film or series. I assume it's a film, but I'm just curious if.
Okay.
Well, one, I'm
I
curious
don't
if it's a
know.
film, if you maybe like this film,
I'd be curious. I would love to check that out. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna look into that.
but it is. I mean, so far, I think people like it because I could see, and I think I could see why people think it's very groundbreaking, depending on what they have watched, because it's
True.
there are really good cliffhangers. There's some good twists already. Like, it's done in a way, and like, you know, with it being Korean cinema, like the way it's shot is very different, I think, than a lot of people are used
Yeah.
to here.
Yeah.
So like, it feels super different to a lot of people.
Yes, I agree. If you don't watch a lot of foreign cinema, I feel like it'll be definitely groundbreaking. But make sure you put the Korean audio on there, because do not watch it in English.
I watched another like clip with the English dubbing, and it's so funny. It's
Do you know what's crazy? I bet people out there watch it with the English dubbed.
I bet a majority. I bet vast majority.
Oh, should I
watch
take
it
a
with
poll?
English
Should I
dub.
do a poll on Instagram?
Well, because one, I think a vast majority does, because one, Netflix sets it to that as default. Probably for most people in America, and so two, I doubt most people. One, I actually think the majority would watch it dubbed anyways. I just think that would be my bet. What majority of people would do, but also I don't think a lot of people probably, even if they feel it's weird, won't go into the settings.
They
to,
don't
like,
even think about
look
it,
out.
right?
Yeah.
Right.
Like, if I hadn't watched the trailer off of Netflix that was undubbed and there wasn't all this hype around it, and I started playing it, I'd be like, oh, it's dubbed. I can't, and I'd just not do it.
Well, if you didn't tell me that before we watched it, like if you didn't say that, I would have turned it off within the first 2 minutes. I think. Yeah. So, so yes. So that's the Squid Game news. And then the Scream 5 trailer came out. Looks great. Very excited about it. Comes out in January.
Ooh.
Got the OG cast. Photos from Timothy Chalamet's Willy Wonka came out a couple days ago. Like he's playing like a prequel, like how he met the Oompa Loompas and all this stuff. Which I'm like, I don't know. I think he's overrated personally. I don't know.
I forget how JoJo described him, but it was very funny. In Portland, it was something about a skeleton, a British skeleton or something. But we'll get the real quote.
How was The Shining viewing?
Oh man, we didn't go.
Oh really?
So
breaking news.
Yeah, we were bummed. We got to the top of the lodge. So this is what happened. So we were supposed to go see The Shining at the Timberland Lodge in Portland this past weekend. But so I rented a car and it was, it was like 50s, high 50s, low 60s there temperature wise. And I rented a car. We had a Toyota 4Runner, so a big car with 4-wheel drive and everything. And I was like, a couple weeks ago, like prior to us traveling, I was like, should I be worried about snow, all this stuff? And me and my brother got in the car. We drove like all the way to the top. Literally when it was like 3 or 4 miles from the top, it started snowing and it was like 20 degrees and it was like raining. And I was like, oh God, this is terrible. And it was already slippery. Like it was really hard to get up. And there was like not even 10 cars up there, which is weird because it's usually packed. And so we got to the top and I will say it looked just like The Shining. So it was awesome to see that. It was really cool. It was snowing a lot. We went into the lodge, walked around a bit. And then the screening was at like 7:30 and it's like a 2-hour movie-ish. So by the time we were getting done, it'd be pitch black, it'd be, almost 10 o'clock. We're like, okay, we might get like snowed in here because it was supposed to snow all night and it was cold. And we're like, okay, we could get a room though and just stay the night if we wanted to. But his flight was like mid-morning, afternoon. So potentially we could get stuck again. So we're like, I was like, should we just go? And unfortunately we had to turn around, but it was because it was brutal up there. Like we were sliding everywhere. So I'm really glad we turned around or came back down, but unfortunately didn't get to go, but he'll do that, I'm sure, every year. So we'll go.
You made it to the lodge. You just didn't get to see the movie.
Exactly. So I'm glad at least Sean got to see the lodge. That was pretty cool.
That's cool.
But so yeah, that's my news.
I'm all geared up for Succession to start Sunday.
Ooh, yeah, it's coming out.
And I forget. I mean, Alan. They've all been going around doing the press, and obviously this would make sense. But Alan Ruck, who plays the oldest brother Connor, is Cameron in Ferris Bueller.
Ferris Bueller.
And he looks. As soon as they said it, I was like, oh, of course, he looks identical still. Like,
yeah,
but I, for whatever reason, never put that together. So,
yeah, fun fact. There you go.
Oh, and the new
Home Alone
comes
I knew
out.
it. Yes. Saw the trailer.
Like in a month, maybe.
Looks very strange.
November or something. Oh, it's so strange. But it's like, I know Pete Holmes is in it, the comedian who I love. The kid is Jojo Rabbit's friend.
Mm-hmm.
That Max kid. Who?
Well, did you see that?
Like, he's got to be great.
Did you see that the police officer in the trailer, and it said McAllister?
I haven't watched
the
the trailer.
There's a shot with it's like neck down, and it says McAllister. So I think
Macaulay's back.
I think he's like a cop or something.
Interesting, because I knew he was back in some form, but I assumed it wasn't his kid.
He's not in it, but there's a cop that says McAllister. So I don't know. I'm assuming that's him or someone. I don't know. It looks. You should watch it. I don't know. I mean, it looks very Disney, like very kids, which is what Home Alone is. But I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see. I'm up for it.
I mean, I'll watch it, but it's a show or a movie?
It's a movie.
Oh, okay, good. Thank God. No more shows.
Yeah. I don't need it to be turned into a Disney show.
Just don't bring it to Netflix. They'll make you do a show.
Dummy. Really taking aim at Netflix recently.
I know.
You've been really, I feel like several podcasts have been like, something's come up and you're like, and Netflix got the rights to do, what horror movie did they just
It was Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah, and you were like, and they were going to ruin it. It's going to be
It's going to be terrible. I guarantee you it's going to be garbage.
Well,
we'll see.
But yeah, we'll see what happens. That's about it for me, though. No more movie news.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Over here, I don't think I've got anything else to add here.
I'm excited to watch Halloween. I'm bummed though that it's not like when we saw the last one and it was like we're in the theater with everyone. And
I know.
when you're in the theater with Halloween fans, like I was, again, I always say like I actually enjoyed the last Halloween, but I think a lot of it was in that theater, you know, and like Jamie Lee Curtis would show up on screen and everyone would be like, oh my God, like this is the best.
I feel like with Halloween, it's like a lot of the sequels aren't like, I wouldn't say there's not a like, some of them are just not great, but like you still like them. Like if you're a Halloween fan, you still, if you like Michael Myers and you like the characters, you're gonna like those movies just because it's fun.
Uh-huh.
And I feel like the expectation, you just go in, you can't be like, oh, this is gonna be, you know, win Oscars. You just got to go in being like, this is Michael Myers. There's gonna be some crazy shit that goes down. I got to deal with it.
Yeah. I also forgot to mention that in The Lady in White, Paul or Phil, I don't know why I keep wanting to call him Paul. I think it's because he also was wearing a red sweater a lot, but he gave me some Freddy Krueger vibes once in a while, like certain shots.
Do you know what's
weird?
He
looks like Freddy Krueger.
You know what's weird? I didn't think that, but I wrote Nightmare on Elm Street vibes because Freddy Krueger was a child murderer.
Oh, yeah. There were certain shots, like and maybe in the woods too, where it was like the red turtleneck kind of stripes, and it was like his face from one side just looked like a normal face Freddy Krueger, though.
I bet they were inspired. I mean, 84 was when Elm Street came out, so.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So I'm sure that was inspired for sure.
Donnie Darko, Nightmare on Elm Street. It's all tied together through this, guys.
And then Honey, I Shrunk the Kids because the kid's in it. So
that's Honey, I Falls. Yeah, man. Because
Honey. Oh my God.
Too far.
Dude.
All right. Is that a wrap, or you guys have anything else you want to say?
That's all I got.
That's a wrap. Yeah.
Episode 36 in the books.